Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm gonna be honest, where do we begin with Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel? Obviously, a deck that I've been running for the last month has been Shining Sarcophagus, and whether it's good or bad is determinable when and how you're going to use it. If you're going to be using it in fun, free-to-play, obviously, type matchups with your friends, then yes, I would say it's a very effective deck. In the terms of ranked play, on the other hand, I would say it's somewhat challenging. I'm going to be honest, my experience with the deck has been very hit and miss. There are situations and occasions where you would have matchups which are absolutely phenomenal and really enjoyable as a whole experience. The comboing, meh. The limiting, meh. It kind of gives me the feel of a Red Eyes type build. Obviously, if you've ever played Red Eyes Black Dragon before, you would know that some of the cards are massively restricting, including Red Eyes Fusion, where obviously once you fusion summon into a Red Eyes monster, unfortunately the situation that occurs is you cannot normal summon or special summon, similar to the Shining Sarcophagus deck. You know, obviously with the ties that bind. If you use the spell card, the ties that bind, if you control Shining Sarcophagus and a monster that mentions it, special summon up to 2 level 4 lower monsters with different names that mention Shining Sarcophagus from your hand or deck. Also for this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck, which is a punch in the face. In a world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel and the decks you see from Labyrinth, Yubel, Centaurion, Flu, like I'm just naming all the decks that, like, they're not in particular order for the decks that I particularly hate playing up against. Occasionally, I do run meta. I ain't gonna lie. Like, obviously, everyone pretty much runs meta at some point or another. For me, on the other hand, obviously, I do run meta, like I just said, but I also tend to run rogue to see how well I can actually play up against the meta and see whether or not it plays off well. You guys will be fully aware, obviously over the course of the next month, December. I don't know what deck we're going to be running for that month. Obviously, the matches will be live streamed and occasionally recorded on the channel as well, for you all in case you missed the live streams, as we vertical live stream. So if you want to watch it there, then obviously you can. But if you want to watch it in horizontal format, wait for the video to drop, which potentially would probably be the night after, if not. But yeah. Obviously, I don't want it to be, I've always said, I don't want this to be an occasion of a series where I record and only show wins, like most YouTubers. Obviously, they're like, this is the best deck in the world, and really it's trash when you go to use it. I'm going to be honest with you all, and in today's video, obviously 3 minutes deep, we're going to talk about how effective it is, and is it worth crafting. You know, I spoke about this briefly at the start of the video, saying that if you are playing up against friends, I'd probably say craft it if you're playing as in a competitive situation. But to be honest, realistically, I think a lot of the people that are competitive are not going to build this anyway. They're going to be looking at potentially building Tempai or Lab, for example. You know, there's many meta decks in terms of what's out there. You know, Yubel, I don't see much of, but it's still a pain in the ass. Phantom of Yubel is obviously limited to 2, which can be quite frustrating. You've also got Nightmare Pain, which benefits the Yubel monsters. But yeah, Tempai is pretty much an OTK build. If you're not familiar with it, obviously, you will come across it at some point in your journey of Master Duel. Anyways, we're going to be talking about Shining Sarcophagus. This is my deck build. I'm going to cut my head off real quick. This is the deck build I ran to get myself to Diamond 1. I'm going to be honest, it bricks a lot. It bricks massively. There's no denying it. Genuinely, it's very difficult to make a play. You know, you're probably like, bro, no wonder you're running so many hand traps. They are needed. Like, when I mean you brick, you fucking brick hard. You know, if you draw 5 sample cards, like, this is ideally okay. But if you go Shining Sarcophagus and you activate it, and then you go to add a Shining Sarcophagus monster from your deck to your hand and get Ash Blossomed, yes, you have to call by. But if they have Crossout, You know, there's always some sort of repercussion. It kind of reminds me of Unchained, obviously being able to lose so simply to an Effect Veiler, Ash Blossom, etc. So preferably, if you do go up against the Ash, yes, you can adjust the extra deck. Potentially add yourself an Omega or an 8-star Synchro. We do obviously have Chaos Angel, but whether we pull that out, it's very hard. You can also build this deck around other engines. So if you wanted to run Kashtira in it, it works extremely well. You can run Horus in it, it works extremely well. Forbidden Droplet can come in handy. You can drop the Horus cards. You can obviously use Imseti to be able to add King Sarcophagus, place King Sarcophagus, special summon to level 8, Zombie Vampire, etc. Then get yourself a Gadget Soldier out or a card that contains Shining Sarcophagus, and if you do manage to throw this to the graveyard, you can negate a battle phase, which would shut down a potential play for Tenpai, especially battle phase. Super Poly is another out for Tenpai, but realistically, in an ideal world, if you don't pull, let's say we didn't run hand traps, yeah, hand traps didn't exist. Actually, no, I can't really say hand traps don't exist because realistically, you guys want me to be honest with how effective this is in ranked, and is it worth building? So, the starting combo, if you manage to pull the right cards, you don't want any of these dead ones. Silent Swordsman 0, dead. Silent Magician 0, dead. Marshmallow, dead. They are only good based upon Shining Sarcophagus. And I'm going to be honest with you all. If there was an ideal world for this deck to be, you know, better, Shining Sarcophagus should be able to protect everything. You know, okay, doesn't protect spell and traps, yeah? So I get it cannot be destroyed by monster effects, but genuinely that is such a shit effect, in my opinion. I genuinely believe that Shining Sarcophagus should have the effect of protect all monsters that contain the name Shining Sarcophagus. That way your monsters can protect it. Silent Magician 0 has a protection of 1 spell card per turn. That's cool, no issue with it. Silent Swordsman can protect a card that's targeted. Cool, it can protect obviously Shining Sarcophagus. Gadget Trio. Look, this is the deadest one in the bunch. You could run the trap card, I'm going to be honest, it's not good. So if this card is normal special summon, you can add 1 Shining Sarcophagus or 1 spell or trap that mentions it from your deck to your hand. You know, so if you don't have Shining Sarcophagus, you kind of need to obviously normal summon the Gadget Trio to be able to add the Shining Sarcophagus. But if you get Infinite Impermanence, Ash, Effect Veiler, there is so many ways of shutting it down, you are left with nothing. So you're forced to use hand traps. So theoretically, if I went Gadget Trio in attack mode and they went Ash Blossom, on the upside we would have Cool Buy or Crossout if we're fortunate enough. Personally, I think Crossout should be at 3, but we're going to talk about the cards and adjustments. I don't think that Future Silence should benefit your opponent. So you can add one monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus from your deck to your hand. Then if you activate this card during the battle phase where you control Shining Sarcophagus and a monster that mentions it, each player draws until... It shouldn't be each player, it should be only you. You have set up the board to have a monster with Shining Sarcophagus in the name and also set up the spell card. It's bad enough that it can be destroyed by Happy Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, anything of the above. The fact each player draws until they have 6 cards in their hand is bollocks. It shouldn't benefit them, in my opinion. Also, adding to that, turn silence, I can't fault it, but yet again, it's restricted to Shining Sarcophagus. Tag 1 face monster you control, creatures level by 3. Also, if you activate this card in response to an opponent's monster effect activation, yet again, while you control Shining Sarcophagus and a monster that mentions it, negate the opponent's effect, you have to control 2 cards to activate 1 card. It's ridiculous. Especially when you can go with cards like Call by the Grave. I don't know, like, you know, in my opinion, it should be able to target a Shining Sarcophagus monster without having the spell card. Obviously, maybe if we get a field spell, I spoke about this in the stream as well, but obviously they brought it up about having a field spell, and I said they should have the Ceremonial Duel as the artwork. You know, Yugi taking on a Tem, nostalgic purposes, that would be the field spell, a Ceremonial Duel. You know, I think that would be pretty cool, but who are we kidding? Second effect, not as bad, it's pretty effective. The only downfall, during damage calculation, if your monster that mentions Shining Sarcophagus battles, you can banish this card from the graveyard and end the battle phase. Really good. Really good. But the problem you've got, you don't have enough Shining Sarcophagus monsters. You know, you literally have Gadget Trio, Silent Magician 0, and Silent Swordsman 0. There is... Oh, and Gandora. Sorry, Gandora. I apologize. And then you've got the more Marshmallow. Effect... Oh, I suppose you could use Summon Skull and the Dark Magician, I suppose. Is it worth it? You know? Yeah. I personally think that should be able to negate straight off the bat. Okay. Obviously, we're going to skip over Super Poly and stuff. Shining Sarcophagus, I've spoke about this already. It should be able to protect all your monsters. And basically, it should be, cannot be destroyed by everything in general. Card effects, not just monster effects, just be everything. You know, because I believe that King Sarcophagus has some sort of Horus monster you control cannot be destroyed by card effects that do not target them. That's the effect we should have. You know, I get we got a obviously protection of monster effects, but you can still get it banished by SP. Yeah. Obviously, we spoke about the ties that bind. Personally, you should be able to still special summon from the extra deck. Maybe we can get ourselves a couple of extra deck monsters, you know, maybe a Gandora Link monster or, you know, the Gadget Trio Link monster or something. I don't know why they gave us Gadget Trio as basically a combo starter, in all honesty. But yeah. If you wanted to, probably with friends, you could run the trap cards. Special Summoners card as an effect monster. Gain 2,000 attack for each Shining Sarcophagus and a monster that mentioned it that you control. Realistically, you're not going to activate 3 Shining Sarcophagus on the field together. Not when you've got Lightning Storm, Happy Feather Duster, and shit ready to blow up your board. Once per turn, when your opponent's monster declares an attack where you control Shining Sarcophagus, you can destroy that monster. Yet again, easily negated. You've got Baron. You've got, obviously... Solemn. Well, it depends on the deck you're playing up against. There's a lot of negation plays. You know, if you're playing up against Centurion, you can do a Blazer. I'm just going off of the duels I've done over the last stream. Look, I see why people script their videos. I'm just speaking freely. I understand why people script it solely for the fact they don't repeat themselves numerous times, and I have done that. But yeah, I just kind of wish there was a bit more support to it. I know I've seen deck builds regarding Dark Magician, and obviously with Dark Magician you can add yourself the trap card that can negate all your opponent's monster effects. But yet again, where is it? This one. This is what you would normally add. I originally ran this and then I stopped. If you activate this trap card, you can negate all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. Feel like it's a waste of time, because if you've got Gandora on the field and you bring out Dark Magician, all it takes is a Super Poly and someone's got Star of Venom on board and you're dead. There are some other... Obviously, I think if you ran this deck as a hybrid, it would probably be fairly competitive, but it's not competitive as in it being itself, which I've experienced by trying to run it this way. The extra deck could be obviously refined. You could probably run Pot of Extravagance if you don't want to run Super Poly. That way you don't really have to worry too much about the extra deck. Quite frankly, most of the cards we actually went with, very rarely monsters came out. Never really saw Dragostapelia, never really saw Yubel. But yet again, it's nice to have the backup to be able to... it's nice to be able to have the backup just in case you play up against a Yubel type deck. Ghost Ogre was originally, I flicked between 2 and 1, and I didn't run Gamma, and then I thought, screw this, I've been losing to Gamma, so I'm going to bring Gamma out. So we kind of subsided. I kind of wish there was more to do with this deck, but I think if the cards were adjusted, even a field spell, obviously like we mentioned prior, it would make this deck a little bit more consistent. Because what you could do is activate the field spell, go to add Shining Sarcophagus, they can Ash Blossom it, then you can normal summon your Gadget Trio, obviously Infinite Impermanence might be a thing. This is why I think Crossout should be at 3. Look, I don't know. Quite frankly, it's a brick deck. A lot of the cards you heavily kind of can't do nothing with without the other. Everything's orientated around Shining Sarcophagus, but the only way you can get Shining Sarcophagus is if you have Gadget Trio. If you don't have Gadget Trio, you obviously got to hope for Future Silence, and Future Silence can add Shining Sarcophagus from your deck to your hand. well, a monster, which would lead into Gadget Trio. So they're all good, but bad. So overall, do I think it's a good deck? I think it's a fun deck if it had support. If it had the right support, I would 100% want to play it more. But yeah, obviously I'm going to try and do these as a monthly thing where we go over a deck, like, is this deck worth building? If you guys could let me know in the comments below some pointers to what I can do to improve, like would gameplay be beneficial for you all? Obviously this is a new series that I'm experimenting with, where I'm going to use a deck for a month for the whole season to see how far we can get, and then we'll talk about it. So yeah, also let me know in the comments below what kind of deck you'd like to see me run next. Obviously the new pack's coming out. I tend to try and build from the new pack. I don't know what we're getting. I don't know if we're getting gimmicks. Well, obviously gimmick puppets, which would be kind of cool because I really did like Quattro. I had to think for a sec then. It was Quattro that run puppets. Yeah, guys. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Let me know obviously how I can improve these videos. It's going to be a work in progress, you know, but thank you all. Peace.